Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to a Week 9 edition of the Blitz Player Prop Release Show presented by EV Analytics. Apologies for being just a couple of minutes late here. We're dealing with some line movement, making sure that we are finding you guys the best lines that are available out there. We will be bringing you those in just a second. I am Keith Eyster. I will be hosting today Ice 819 over at RotoGrinders and Scores and Odds. I am joined today, as always, by Derek Carty, creator of the Blitz projection system. Derek, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. In a hotel room, obviously.
On the road.
Hopefully you guys can see and hear me okay. But it's been a little bit of a cold run, lately. But we're dealing with small sample sizes. Ultimately we're dealing with a handful of picks, and that there's always going to be variance with this. We were on a hot streak earlier, a cold streak now. Really all it comes down to is building up a big enough sample size, because in the long run, these plays are all going to be profitable. And we're still up, I think 6 or 7 units, like 20% ROI or so on the year. So still doing really well. Market's a little dry today. I'm not in love with anything we're putting out today. Some of it's going to be some gross stuff, but a lot of times the gross stuff is where the value is. So I do think we have some decent ones today.
Yeah, I think we landed in a good spot. We got off to a super hot start last week, 2-0 on Thursday Night Football. Looked like we were going to have a great week. And then we missed Hurts completions by the hook, I believe. Yeah. And then Drake London, Mariota drops back 28 times, more than he's dropped back all season, and London just doesn't quite get there for us.
And London's target share winds up being the lowest it's been in weeks. It's just, it is what it is. But yeah, it looks like we just lost a few points on one of our lines again. So maybe let's get into it before it moves anymore.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So we're jumping right over to Betway here. And like we said, we were trying to find the best lines here right before we came on. They've been moving like crazy here. We are looking at the Seattle Seahawks at Arizona Cardinals game. Arizona favored by 2 points in this one, a 49-point total. We are looking at Geno Smith passing completions. We are looking to go over 22.5 passing completions. Looks like minus 115 is the number.
Literally 2 minutes ago, it was minus 105.
Yep.
2 minutes ago. We were... All right, minus 115 is still the best line that's available anywhere else. Yeah, I mean, we'll take it there. Minus 105 would have been great, because most books are like minus 125, minus 130. The sharper books that I've seen are like minus 132. So minus 105 was looking awesome. Minus 115 still fine. I think also Bet Rivers had minus 115 for anyone else who's looking. But the Blitz does like the over here quite a bit. It's projecting about 26 completions for Geno. So we're getting, what is that? 3.5, 4 completions over the line here. Close enough to even money. It projects to win about 66% of the time, 2/3 of the time. It's a good spot. They're facing the Arizona Cardinals. It's going to be a fast-paced game, one of the fastest-paced games of the week. I'm hoping it's a dome game. It's in Arizona, but the weather there looks kind of nice. It's going to be like 75 degrees. If they open the roof, it's not as good. Hopefully the roof's closed, but I like this regardless. Even if the roof is open, it's 5-mile-an-hour wind. He still projects fine.
Yeah, we absolutely love this game environment. I'm currently sitting in Arizona, not too far from the stadium, about 40 miles or so. 62 degrees. That's pretty chilly here in Arizona. So I feel like they might open that roof, but it's still a dome stadium. It's just the canopy over the top. Excellent game environment here. Geno Smith over 22.5 completions, minus 115. It looks like the best number out there now.
Yep.
Second one, moving. Actually, we're staying in the same game, but we are going to change books over to Bet Rivers, is where, assuming that line hasn't moved on us. Like I said, these were moving all over the place as we were just. Yep, looks like we're still good here. So we are looking at the wide receiver receptions market. And we are looking at Tyler Lockett over 5.5 receptions. Looks like you can get a good plus money number here, plus 120 over here on Bet Rivers.
Plus 125 a few minutes ago. So we're losing a little bit on here, which again, not ideal, but it's just the nature of these shows and trying to time it. And, we're on the right side of the markets. They are moving this way. Pinnacle has it minus 105 and we're getting it even plus 120 is really good. The Blitz is projecting about 6.25 with the roof open. If the roof is closed, maybe closer to 7. This is a good spot. Lockett has been dealing with injury, maybe isn't like 100% healthy, but he did get a full practice in yesterday. And, so presumably he's going to get one in today as well. It's the same thing as Geno, basically. I like it. We're on the good side of it. Sharper books, we're getting it at a really good number relative to sharper books. I think Metcalf looks pretty good also. He's been kind of moving in the same direction. So not an official play, but if you want to, hit Metcalf also, he's looking pretty good too.
All right, absolutely. Our third one here, we are moving over to Bet365. We are looking at the Los Angeles Chargers going across the country for an early game in Atlanta, taking on the Falcons. Chargers currently favored by 3, have a nice big 49.5 point total here. And we are looking at the receiving yards market. This one's going to be a familiar one from last week, but we were on Marcus Mariota and his low pass attempts rising. We did, in fact, see that. So targeting that again, the Chargers are really banged up. Lots of injuries there for the Chargers. We are looking at Drake London over 38.5 receiving yards, minus 110 here, the best number on Bet365.
Yep, it's a gross one. We lost it last week. I feel like it was kind of a bad beat because we only lost it by a few yards, and we did get the volume from the passing offense in general that we wanted. I think, again, we should expect something, more like 25 to 30 pass attempts as opposed to like the 15 they had been getting because teams just don't throw the ball only 15 times. So I think Mariota probably approaches 30 pass attempts here. They're going to be in the Dome. They're facing a Chargers team that plays at a very fast pace. This is a pace-up spot in general for Atlanta, more volume maybe than we're used to seeing from them. And yeah, London's target share has been down of late, especially last week. But this is still a guy who's going to get 25 or 30% of the targets. And if they're throwing it 30 times in a dome, it's just silly. I even checked. I'm like, because the blitz is always like really high on London. It probably has him at like 60 or 70 yards this week, like it did last week. So I looked at other systems just to see, like, is the blitz just like out on an island here? Like, am I missing something with London? And no, I looked at like 4 or 5 other systems and they range from 46 yards all the way up to 70 yards. Like no one was under this number. So it's gross. He hasn't hit it lately, but it is the sharp play. And minus 110 is definitely a good number to be in at. There's what was I looking? Pinnacle had him at, well, actually, he's even moved up at most books. He's at 39.5 or 40.5 at most books now. Pinnacle's 39.5 minus 115. They were, I think, 38.5, like minus 135 before. So we're really getting in good here. This is the last book, I think, that's probably showing a 38.5 line. Again, we're on the right side of the market. So hopefully it works out for us this week.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, kind of a bad beat last week. We were really close to getting there anyway. Atlanta was trailing with 2 minutes left, and they hit a monster play, 47 yards to Damiere Byrd to tie the game up. And then we got overtime, and he only had 1 catch in overtime, but thought for sure we were going to backdoor that one at the end. Just a rough miss, but a super low number for a really talented receiver in the Dome, like you mentioned. Great game environment here. So it doesn't feel comfortable after missing it last week, but definitely just go right back to it. Like you said, the sharp side. Feel really good about this one.
Yeah, wide receiver. I said it last week. Wide receivers with a 30% target share should not be projecting for 38 yards. Like that's just not realistic.
Yep, absolutely. All right, and then our final play of the day. We are sticking in the same game, same book as well. Bet365 here. Yep. We have a nice big plus money number here for you guys. We are looking at the passing touchdown market, and we have been talking about Mariota's increased volume. They've got a West Coast team coming across the country for an early game. And we have a nice big plus 210 number here on Marcus Mariota over 1.5 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, it's about as gross as you can get. Like, but really, all of Mariota stuff projects well this week, and this one in particular projects really well. The Blitz is projecting about 1.5 for Mariota, so it is a coin flip. It's not like we're saying he's going to smash this. This is a coin flip play, but we're getting it at plus 210. Like, it's a monster number for something that is basically a 50-50 proposition. So I really like it. We should note that the way we track these picks is to win 1 unit. So basically we'd be wagering, whatever it is, 0.45 units here to win 1 unit on a play like this. Because it is a big plus money play. Like, it's not like, Geno, is going to win 65 or 70% of the time. This play is not. But when it does win, we're getting paid out like really well on it. So, yeah, that's really all it comes down to. Like, Mariota has done this in 3 of the 8 games, I think, so far this year. So he's already almost done it half the time, and it's still plus 210. And again, that was with a few weeks with really abnormal pass volume for him. So you see that normalize, and you see that he's already done it a few times. And again, pace up spot, dome, the injuries of the Chargers, like it's a good bet. It's gross,
yeah, I mean, it's all about the value here. If it's about 50% to hit, you should see that number right around even money, plus 110 maybe. If he was a slight dog to do it, but I mean, plus 210, you're getting significant value on this line here. So, and risking less too with finding that much value. So, it's not a comfortable one, like you said, but you have to take the value where you can find it, and this is one of the better value spots of the entire week.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the gross spots a lot of times is where you just got to hold your nose and do it, because the books know no one wants to bet on Marcus Mariota to throw 2 touchdowns. And so we get incentivized to actually do it. So that's where the value is.
All right, very good. So I think we have 4 really strong plays here this week. As always, make sure you're keeping an eye out on Twitter. Be following at RotoGrinders and at Derek Carty. In case we have anything to add leading up to Sunday. Derek loves to find those carries props late in the weeks. They take forever to release those, but you're always finding some value there. So anything that gets released later on today, throughout the day on Saturday, or even Sunday morning, Derek and I are always monitoring lines, looking for the values. So make sure you're following on Twitter. We will definitely put out a play if we find anything else for you guys. Real quick, we've got Geno Smith over 22.5 completions, Tyler Lockett over 5.5 receptions, Drake London over 38.5 receiving yards, and Marcus Mariota over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Appreciate you guys tuning in today. Make sure you catch us next week, either Thursday at 2:30, or we may push it back again, depending on what lines are available. Obviously, we are trying to get you guys the strongest value of the week, and it's been varying from week to week. So Thursday at 2:30 tentatively, but keep an eye out on Twitter. We always update that on Twitter as well. But thank you for joining us this week. We will catch you next Thursday for the Blitz Player Props Release Show.